What's going on? Happy Wednesday. I hope you all are well. Appreciate you coming back to the channel, watching some videos. Today, I want to talk a little bit about, what I'd never do if I were buying a home here in 2025, and the 3 things that would kill your home's value. So let's first dive into what would kill your home value. So today, I want to talk about, from buy side and a seller side. When it comes to listing your home, 3 things that would kill your home's value is 1, neglecting landscaping. Landscaping super important. Curb appeal is very important. Yes, it's a little expensive, but it's more expensive if you neglected it so much to where now you have to replace it all. So do some nice landscaping, keep up with it, make sure you have a gardener or a landscaper, someone that maintains the lawn. It could be $150 a month depending on the size of your yard, or $700 a month depending on the size of your yard. So don't neglect your landscaping. That will kill your home's value rather quickly, especially when it comes time to selling. Outdated fixtures is another one. So if you were to have outdated fixtures, say hypothetically super old fan or super gaudy, what's the word I'm trying to think of, light fixture, in the main living room right as you walk in, you want to make sure you're up to date with fixtures, lighting, landscaping, if you've got old fixtures out in the front lawn and you say hypothetically you have no lighting or floodlights on the outside of your home, you're gonna have not a curb appealing home. So you want curb appeal to be a huge thing, one from the outside but also the inside. And the other one, which will affect your home price, is bad paint colors. And these are all basic things, but also basic things that people don't really think of. Bad paint colors, if you have yellow, or if you have pink, or if you have just obnoxious gaudy colors with bad fixtures and no landscaping, you've got the trifecta of poorly priced home. So not to be offensive anyway, but just make sure that it's somewhat appealing to all the eyes. I mean, you're not going to appeal everyone's taste, but if you've got a pink house, with a yellow roof, it's really going to turn off a lot of people. In reality, it's you can see, some people can see past the colors and just redo it. It's not that expensive, but a lot of people can't, and it really affects how they see the home. So just get those fixed. Quick story, I showed a house the other day, and it was a condo, and it was like a clown home. There was a mirror on every wall. You couldn't walk somewhere without seeing yourself. And then it had terrible fixtures, the lighting was terrible, and then the paint colors, it was yellow throughout the house. And then there was one wall with a rainbow color mural of the person that lived there. So quite a unique house, and long story short, it has yet to sell. So just a quick story. But let's get into not now from the seller side, but to the buyer side, what I'd never do if I were buying a home here in 2025. One, what I would never do is I'd never skip the inspection. The only time I'd ever skip the inspection is if I'm buying a fixer-upper and I plan on redoing the entire house. Even then, it's still a little bit of a risk, because what happens if there's a sinkhole under your house, Now you have no house. The chance of that happening is slim to none, but still, it's a precaution. But other than that, I would never skip an inspection, because you don't know if there's termites, you don't know if there's mold, you don't know if the person before decides, hey, I'm going to sabotage the house, I mean, not that the person would do it, but if, say, hypothetically, it's a landlord situation and the renter decides to, spray water and all the insulation in the attic, you'll have a major mold problem and have to redo it, the whole house. So where I'm going with this is never skip an inspection. It's only $500-$600, maybe, give or take. It's easy. It just prevents you from having major issues. The other thing I would say is don't fall in love with the staging, Because staging, one, is relatively inexpensive, but at the end of the day, the furniture is most likely rather expensive. It's one, you may not like the staging anyhow, and you'll probably want to do it your own way. But secondly, they could have restoration hardware in the house, and to furnish the house, if you're buying a $500,000 house and hypothetically it's all restoration hardware before it, you know, that's $100,000 in furniture, which if you're buying a $500,000 house, you typically don't want to spend, you know, $100,000 on restoration hardware. I don't think anyone does. Another thing is get a survey. You know, if you buy a house, then again, it's like an inspection. You know, you want to get a survey. Whether the survey is probably only $500 to get, give or take, 500 to 1,000, depending on where you're at, what area you're in, and whatnot. But it's one of those things, right? Like, do you need one? No, but hypothetically, what happens if there's an encroachment or the neighbor's wall is too far over and on your property line? Now you've got an issue with, you know, your lot lines, and you have less of a yard than you actually thought you did because you trusted the seller's word with their old survey that they got 10 years ago. Get a survey. You know, it's good to have one just because you never know. And then another thing is, you know, in a hot market, don't make lowball offers, right? We talk about, in our industry, my team and I talk about ROI versus ROL, right? Like, if you want to make a buck, that's great, but at the end of the day, if it's exactly what you love, your ROL, which is your return on lifestyle, is far more important than saving $25,000 or $50,000, especially if you plan on living there for, you know, 50, not 50 obviously, but say 10 years, right? 5-10 years. So just, you know, don't expect to lowball everything if you're in a hot market. If you're in a market like we're kind of in now, right? It's summer markets here, things are slow. It's okay to lowball things, but at the same time, don't be too emotionally attached to the house. Otherwise, pay the price, be done, get what you want, and be out. So I want to talk, like I said, want to talk a little bit about, you know, the buy side, the sell side, what's going on now, how to set expectations up front. So, you know, call me with questions. Would love to hear your thoughts. Comment down below, subscribe to the video, and we will talk soon. Have a great day.